Hey guys, good morning. I hope your day is starting off just fantastically. There are new polls out. Here we go. Liberals polling at 39.6% nationally, conservatives at 37.3%. The Liberals have taken a lead nationally. The New Democrats at 10%. And you can see the little numbers just underneath the main. The Liberals are up 2%. The Conservatives are flat. The NDP is down 1.3%. The Bloc remains flat at 6.4. The Greens have lost point 0.6. Point 0.6. It looks like the Liberals have taken 1.3% from the New Democrats and 0.6% from the Greens and added it to their total. And what is this based on? Let me show you. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 new polls that have come out over the last few days. The latest one being from conducted between March 23rd and March 24th. And of all of these new polls, they all show the Liberals in the 40s, a low of, I guess, 40%. This one is not a new poll, but the lowest, I guess, is the most recent, 41%, and as high as 46%. And they show the Conservatives anywhere between 37 and 39%. The NDP in these new polls has collapsed to single digits between 6 and 9%. It's looking very bad for the NDP, and most of that NDP support is just going to the Liberals, according to these polls. And I know for a lot of you, you'll look at this and be quite shocked and wonder, well, can it possibly be true? And why would I believe some of these polls? And let's just have a quick look here, because these polls have been tracked for quite some time. And if we go back here, and I'm going to just keep flipping back in time. If we scroll back in time here and we finally get to, say, middle of December, let's say Main Street Research here, a poll from December 13th to December 18th, they had the Conservatives up, the Conservatives in blue here, 48% to the Liberals 19%, Main Street Research. So we go back. There's Main Street Research here now, and now they have the Liberals at 44 and the Conservatives at 39. So if you don't believe this poll, did you believe that poll from back in December? You just have to put in perspective, guys, here that the trends, if we go right back here, the same polling companies, Angus Reid, Nanos Research, Ecos, Main Street Research, Abacus, a whole assortment of polls back in December all had the Conservatives in the mid 40s, 44, 43, 42, 45, 48, right? They all had the Conservatives in the 40s, the NDPs in 20, 18, 16%, 20, 21, and the Liberals hovering around 20. The NDP and the Liberals are basically tied. Now, if we go to the recent polls, that NDP support has just collapsed, and you can see they're single digits now. They've lost 10 or 12%, and those 10 or 12% it looks like it's gone to the Liberals. As well, the Bloc, which is under my head here. I should show you the Bloc numbers, shouldn't I? Just, pardon me. I'm sorry, viewers from Quebec. I shouldn't have hidden this column here. But the Bloc has been polling now single digits, very similar to the NDP, 7, 6, 6, 5, 6, 6, 7. And if we go back now, back in mid-December here, you see the Bloc was a 10, 8, 11, 8, 8. So they've dropped a few points as well. So it looks like some of the loss from the Bloc Québécois vote, from dropping from 10 to 5 or 6, has gone to the Liberals. The NDP as well. We have already said that's gone to the Liberals, and probably the Green. Do we have to do the Greens are at 3, 2, 1, 3. Was there any difference in the Greens if we go back to December? And I guess the Greens have also dropped a bit. They were 5, 5, 3, 5, 4. So they've dropped 2 or 3 points as well. I guess I have to be careful where I put my head on these videos that I don't block out some important information, guys. I'm sorry about that. But pretty easy to understand how some popular vote can go from the Bloc, the Green, and the NDP to the Liberals, and as well the Conservatives. They've dropped just a little bit, right? They've dropped from that 40, 42 to 37, 39. They haven't lost a lot, but the Liberals have sure picked up everyone else's popular vote at the expense of the other three parties. So if we look at this graph now, which is an average of all those polls we just scrolled through, with a weighted trailing average to smooth out the results, you'll see that this is the how it stands now in Canada. The Conservatives being on top here, the Liberals being in red, the NDP in orange, and the Bloc Québécois in blue. So from a trend perspective, you can see that the Liberals are still trending up. The Conservatives and the NDP are trending down. The Bloc seems to be leveling out a little bit. I'm just going to look at the trends here and not the numbers because we've already talked about the numbers. The big story with the recent polls, as I've compared these numbers to the numbers I just did 4 or 5 days ago when I released a video, the big change is Quebec. Quebec continues to show a skyrocketing rise of the Liberals there. If I just move this out of the way so you can see it, the Liberals are going straight up in Quebec. At the expense of the Bloc Québécois and the NDP mainly. So this is the province of Quebec, and you can see that the Conservatives, this graph is 2 years, okay? Maybe you don't see the axis down there, but the black line here is the Conservatives starting at 15, 16% and trending up till they peaked here at 27%. So over the past 2 years in Quebec, the Conservatives have trended from 17 to 27 and now have just fallen a little bit, but they're still in the range that they have been throughout those years. So the big reversal in trend is the Liberals, who were trending down for those 2 years, have completely reversed their trend. The NDP, who was trending flat for those 2 years, has headed straight down. And the Bloc in blue at the top, who had been trending slightly up or flat, has reversed their trend and is heading straight down. So this is not a phenomenon where the Conservatives are losing all their support. So really the story here is that the support is shifting from the Bloc and the NDP to the Liberals. Now that's the story in Quebec. Let's look at Atlantic Canada, and that is a just as good a story for the Liberals, if not better, because it shows the Conservatives and the NDP heading straight down now and the Liberals heading straight up. Ontario, which is the province with the most voters in our country, the Liberals have actually crossed the Conservatives on this average trend line. It looks like the Conservatives are trending down. They may have just stopped recently. It looks like there's a little, maybe their decline has stopped. But the NDP, look at the NDP, look at the orange number there. It's fallen off a cliff and it's heading now. It's accelerating down. It's heading straight down. And of course, all of those voters, NDP voters, are now switching to Liberal, it seems. In Saskatchewan and Manitoba here, you can see the trend is the same for the Liberals and the NDP, going in opposite directions. And it looks like maybe the Conservatives have flattened out. It looks like maybe flattened out here at the end and maintaining kind of a flat trend. In Alberta, same story for NDP and Liberal, but it looks like maybe the Conservatives have turned themselves around. They're not dropping as much. So some positive news there for the Conservatives in Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and Alberta. British Columbia, I keep looking at that NDP line in orange, and it looks just devastating. Just devastating. And just look at the amplitude of change. How much the NDP has gone down is almost equivalent to how much the Liberals have gone up. Canada-wide, now how will this translate into seat projection if this is the popular vote, if the election was held right now? So looking now at a graphical representation of the popular vote, province to province, region by region, let's look at this one. I want to draw your attention to the Saskatchewan and Manitoba, the Conservatives with a significant lead, as we saw in the other graphs, 47.9 to 32. But when we look at how this will translate into seats, and we click seat projection here, you can see that in Saskatchewan, even though the Conservatives had a healthy popular vote lead, they're projected to win 18 to 20 seats, and the Liberals are close at 8 to 10. And why is that? I'll tell you why that is. I know why that is. It seems strange, but that's because the Liberals are polling very well in Winnipeg. And there's 8 to 10 seats they could win, even though the Conservatives are farther ahead in the rural areas outside the city. Look at the green here, the NDP. British Columbia projected to win 1 seat. Alberta, maybe 1 seat. 0 in Saskatchewan, Manitoba. In Ontario, up 3 seats maximum. That's devastation. In Atlantic Canada, 0. In Quebec, possibly 1. So in the whole country, the NDP, 5 seats maybe. That would be one of their worst defeats in history. And the other thing to look at here is that so close in British Columbia, the Liberals projected to win between 20 and 23 seats, and the Conservatives 20 and 22 seats. So a virtual tie in British Columbia. In Alberta, this does not look good. I would be surprised if the Liberals win between 5 and 11 seats in Alberta, but if they do, that would be considered a devastating defeat for the Conservatives in Alberta. Ontario now, the range 60 to 86 for Liberals and 35 to 59 for the Conservatives, even though the polling averages have them very close. And that again is a product of exactly where the seats are located. And so 43 to 39, it's almost tied, but the seat projection has the Liberals carrying many more seats in Ontario. A lot of the seats in the inner cities, in the GTA and the Toronto area, are fights between the Liberals and the NDP, and they're very close. Those fights are no longer close. So it looks like the Liberals have all the seats that would have been NDP. It looks like they've gone to the Liberal side here. Atlantic Canada is heavily favored for Liberals, 25 to 27 seats, 5 to 7 for the Conservatives. And Quebec, this is very interesting too, because this is where the big swing was, where we see the trend, the most accentuated graphical representation of the trend, where the Liberals are going straight up, the Bloc and the NDP are both going straight down. The NDP are wiped out, but even though the Bloc has the same popular vote nationwide, all of their voters are in Quebec, and they have some very strong ridings. Even if they lose another 2, 3, 4 points, they could still win their 20 seats, because in some districts in Quebec, they're so far ahead that they can afford to lose popular vote and still win. Again, the story is where the NDP has lost support, the Liberals have stepped in to pick it up. Polling averages here for the whole nation. The trend is Liberals straight up, NDP straight down. That's the big story. Conservatives down not quite as much as the NDP, and the Bloc sort of leveling off. Let me know what your thoughts are. And will this trend change? Will the Conservatives be able to reverse their trend? Will the NDP be able to just stop, grab onto a root as they plummet off a cliff and just try and climb their way back up? Will the Bloc start to resonate with Quebecers and maybe level off or increase their vote? This is very significant, because if the NDP and the Bloc can turn themselves around, that will affect the Liberals and make the Liberals turn down. The Conservatives can only do so much to try and help themselves. It's another kind of the key factor here is what happens to the NDP and the Bloc. Will their popular vote still continue to shift towards the Liberals, or will that trend turn around? And we're going to put it back on here, the graph of Quebec. Quebec is one province in Canada that is known for voting strategically. Quebec, distinct province, completely different culture, very, very politically astute and aware of the issues. And they have a tendency of waiting and seeing how the election goes, and then deciding what their preferred outcome is, and then voting strategically to get that outcome. So in many cases, when they're okay with the way the outcome's going to be, they vote heavily for the Bloc so that they have their own regional representation for themselves. But in cases where they think, it'd be more strategic for us to vote for another party to help them win because we don't like this party, you fill in the blanks there of what parties I mean. Quebec is known to vote strategically, and it's possible that you could see this Bloc Québécois support drop even further if they want to push the Liberals higher. It's called strategic voting. We don't really do that anywhere in the country. Quebec is the master of this. Quebecers are the master of this. Let me know what you guys think. I'll try and do these updates as often as possible. I had to do this one because of the new polls that came out were just, again, shocking, but the trend persists. Leave some comments. Subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying my content. If you like my new format, let me know. Give me some feedback. And I'll catch you guys soon, I'm sure. Probably another 4 or 5 days when some new polls are out.